This week on Hey Other Parents, we talk about a holiday that doesn't require gifts, where your presence is present enough. We talk strategies for hosting, how to get your kids involved, dinner plate real estate, seating arrangements, leftovers, and more. Of course, we talk Thanksgiving, when we were younger, mishaps with our own kids, and what the supposed experts say. We've got our stretchy pants ready, cinnamon buns in the oven, and a parade about to start. So pass that gravy boat, because it's three of us and all of you. I'm Michael Height.
I'm Sara D.
And I'm Mike Levine.
Kids don't come with a handbook, so we need your help.
Where do babies come from?
Where do you think they come from?
Is this a kissing book?
Mama!
What?
Hi.
I learned it by watching you.
There are no rules in this house. I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
We sent them to the best boarding schools. We hired the best nannies. We did everything right.
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf!
No drinking, no drugs, no kissing, no tattoos, no piercings, no ritual animal slaughters of any kind.
Together, we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
This is Hey Other Parents, an honest, messy, imperfect show for raising kids.
Hey, welcome back. It's us again. Hello.
Hey,
What's going on?
So we're so glad that you came here to hang out with us as we figure out this parenting thing. So we want to take a special moment to welcome new listeners to our podcast. Welcome aboard. We're just as confused as you are. So we are, we're here, and since we're here, this is the episode where we want to send thanks out because this is our Thanksgiving episode. So a big thank you to Coltrane for helping us record our intro, taking the time out of your busy schedule. It's so greatly appreciated. You helped us back in the day with Food and Fury, and it feels like we couldn't take this ship out to sea without having the right words, and we appreciate you. All right, so let's get into it. So we are here for our Thanksgiving episode, but as we were just so close to Halloween and all that fun ending of fall, as we switch over from October to November, it does feel like we made a mighty swap. But I have to tell you guys, I had a little bit of a funny moment this week. So my son Ethan's a middle guy. He took this STEAM camp over the summer. And like many of your homes, you probably have the same situation where your child brings home something from school, something from camp, and then you don't know what the protocol is. Like, you're supposed to throw it out. You're supposed to keep it forever. Does it now become like an important, permanent, art piece in your house, right? So he had this stuff from his STEAM camp. There were like lots of stuff too. Like, they're really, really cool. But the STEAM camp did like a whole like, those little like skateboardy things, like with your fingers that you kind of like, what are they called?
Yeah.
Like there's a name for them, right? Like the fingerboard, planking. I don't know what I'm talking about. Whatever. So anyway, so he brings home this thing. He made a whole skate park with these little the finger skateboard things, and then he's got this whole other thing with cardboard and like a little restaurant. So anyway, long story short, it's taking up like pretty much the majority of our table in our kitchen. So my wife, she's like, I'm gonna throw this out. It's kind of time. Like, it's paying for well.
No. Oh, gosh.
You ready for this? I mean, I did have a little moment where I questioned, the mentality. But Ethan says to my wife, "Do you think Thomas Edison's mom threw out his light bulb after 3 months?" I was like, what? We're gonna have to like take, we're gonna have to unpack that for a moment. Now, is it
That make you feel so guilty?
Was it like that? It was the guilt factor of throwing it out, or does my child think so highly of himself in that he is?
That was a great line, though.
A great line. I love that. That is
something deck. Is this like a something deck? I'm losing my mind. I don't know what the thing's called, but that cracked me up. But anyway, so we just got off of Halloween, right? And we did right before the big day, because we recorded our episode and sent it out but right before Halloween. But right before that, we were doing a lot of booing, and I didn't know this, but so we did the whole thing where you like go to people's houses, you throw you put the candy there, you ring the doorbell and run away. But we did get to our neighbors who we've been friends with for a long time, and it was the last house, and my kids were just done. Like, let's get inside. So we pull up to their house, and their kids are all outside, and they're loading them up for soccer. And I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Go in the car. Go. Run to the front. Run around them. And they got a kick out of it. They were laughing. That was ridiculous anyway.
They ignore them.
But it's funny because, like, in the past couple of years, the Ring doorbells and all the other brands have taken precedent, and now like the idea of ringing, the idea of booing anyone's house, it's like there's no. Like, what do you do? Walk backwards up to the house? Like, cover your head, wear a creepy mask? Maybe throw the candy? Booed? Oh, okay. So I'm sorry.
She doesn't
So check this
know.
out. So there actually are two versions of this. Because I saw you making a face. I apologize. So there's two versions. There's getting booed and getting boozed. There's two versions. Now check this out. So no. This is wild. I didn't know about this until I don't know. I'm learning. So okay. So getting booed is when you surprise someone with like candy, like a bag of candy at their house, but you don't tell them you're coming. You're basically just like surprising them. So like you boo somebody. You usually the fun of it in past years would be that you go to your friends' houses and then you do this thing, you drop candy in their house, and then you like maybe you leave a little bit of a clue, but you like on the bag it says you've been booed, and then it's like, you know, with like a little candy inside, and maybe like whatever. Yeah. So and then if your parent, you know, if the parent sees there, you just kind of like just turn the other way and pretend that no one's there. And then there's the other version.
Halloween.
This for Halloween, yeah, all for Halloween.
Oh, okay.
Now the other version, I think it's called getting boozed or getting booed. The adults who just needed a break in their lives, you're supposed to take bottles of wine. And then you do the same thing, but for other parents. So you do the same thing. It's kind of almost like tongue in cheek to go along with the boo thing.
What?
Wow, I like that.
I
You know
have
what?
never been booed.
Listen,
Right.
if you could just remember this.
Or booed.
All right, listen, I love the two of you. You know that.
Neglected.
I'm going to probably have to remember to do that for both of you.
Hey.
So remember what I'm saying, but don't remember sometime around like late October.
I'll just turn the other way.
Hey, listen, I know you make bread, Mike, and I love the bread. It's amazing. You guys should really see the bread this guy makes. But I think I may take the booze instead.
Man, you know, the sad
Because
thing is I sat here.
After you make it. You drop it off, you bring it to people's houses. It's like this nice little
Do you wanna
gesture.
actually
that
You might be done parking lots. I mean, like,
yeah.
listen, I think, I don't know, that bread is pretty damn good. So.
Imagine if there was like a word that rhymed with boo that I could use for bread. Like, I don't know. Like loaf doesn't rhyme with boo. I don't know. But I've been giving out bread speaking of being thankful. Speaking of being thankful.
Oh,
right?
be needed. You be needed.
Ooh.
No,
You've been
right?
needed. That sounds like someone came over and gave you like a deep tissue massage. So I speaking of being thankful, part of this episode is about that. So one of the things that I had been doing since the days when New York State shut down because of COVID, we were home, and after playing copious amounts of Animal Crossing and trying to grow my own apple trees, I decided it would be a good idea to try to learn how to make bread because there was no grocery store bread, and then all of a sudden there was no yeast, and then it was like a whole thing. So we went online. Microbiologists were cool for about 2 weeks, and then they explained how to make your own sourdough. So I did that for a while, made flat, sad bread. And then over the course of like 6 months, I started figuring it out. After a year, it was really good. Everybody went back to work. Everybody stopped doing sourdough except for me. And then I started doing this thing at work where I had, once again, this goes to the level of planning for Michael Haidt. It sounds like I have it together. It looks like I have it together. Yeah. So I decided that what I would do is I was going to give every person that I work with a surprise bread on Monday. And I gave you guys a couple of those because I love you guys.
Yes, you did.
But I did this thing where I was like, how long could it possibly take? Like what? Like a year, maybe? No, not a year. It's now year 4, and I have hopes of getting to the end of my list this year. It'd be very cool. So I don't know what I'm gonna do when I'm done with that.
Dude, did you save the progression of like your work? Like,
We should have, right?
I don't know if you
I
guys
do.
seen. Sarah,
No,
did
it's
you
really
see
funny.
it?
I do.
Oh my God. You got to see, guys, the way he's got to post this later, but he started off with, you know, just like anybody starts off, you don't know really what you're doing. You have a plan. I mean, if you're Mike Haidt, you definitely have a clipboard with a plan somewhere.
Yeah, baby.
Right?
Oh, yes.
But he had a plan, and it came out, and I remember he sent me pictures, and I'm like, oh, dude, it's nice. And,
Dude, that's so nice. You made matzah. I'm like,
I was
that's
there.
bread.
I was supporting you, and I'm like, oh, man, I don't know, guys.
Crispy like a crouton.
Aw.
But
It's a
then,
crouton.
but then it has turned into like the Michelangelo of of breads. This thing, what he does with sourdough bread, it's really good, man.
Man,
really,
it's so
really,
good.
really good.
You're gonna make me
And it
blush.
tastes good
Good
too. It not only looks good, it tastes good.
It tastes
You know
good.
what? It is.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I'm like one of those people like cooking. It's like, in this episode, there's gonna be some talk about that too. But there is, there's something very cathartic about like just making something with your hands. I know that sounds really weird because I'm not like a really like, you know, something breaks in the house. I'm like, we need to make a phone call. But the thing is that like when
That's
you
me.
do something like that, I don't know. Like it doesn't matter. I feel like it's two things of this. One is like I love people talk about it all the time, but the idea of like giving something away, like giving someone a gift, like it really is very satisfying to like. Well, it also could be creepy. So showing up with somebody at work and be like, "Hey, I made you a bread." Like there's been a couple moments, but giving someone a loaf of bread that you make is there's something really cool about it. Like every week you kind of cheer someone up. It's a Monday morning and everyone's happy, but they're like, "Hey, I made you bread.
Right.
I'm the bread fairy." So so there's something like really nice about that. But the other thing is like it's really just I don't know. There's like a sense of achievement and just kind of feels really good to like do stuff. So
man,
totally.
this goes full circle back to your story with Ethan.
It does.
I guess
I know.
guess your mom did
so
throw out your attempts of bread.
So imagine if my wife, imagine if Ethan
Oh,
walked up to me,
no.
looked me like dead-eye pan, and just like took my sourdough starter, chucked it in the garbage, and be like, "Hey, it's been 3 months." No, I don't know.
3 months. Dad, get over it.
You know, I do have to say though, when Mike gave me a bread once, and I had my mother over for dinner. You know, I'll never forget. I made this awesome Italian sauce, pasta, everything homemade. And my mom's like, "Wow, this meal's really good, Mikey. You went all out. I love it." She's like, "This bread is amazing." And I'm just like,
Aw.
the one thing I didn't make.
You're like, thanks, Mom.
That's fine. Don't worry about the lasagna.
Mom.
Don't worry about the sauce.
You know,
Don't worry.
it's all
It's
right.
not fine. It's not
It's
from a
all right.
jar.
I bet the sauce
It's just
was
a thing.
good.
Yeah, that was all right. Okay. Next time a little less regular.
New recipe, Bob.
Oh
New
man.
recipe.
So this
You
week we're
told me a
getting
pinch of this.
a pinch of this, a pinch of that. It doesn't matter. What does it matter? Who needs a cookbook? I don't need one. You don't appreciate it. So this week we are diving right into Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is one of those holidays where, depending on your background, your culture, your family, it's just very much, I guess, for better sakes of a description, it's a very American holiday, right? Like it's a holiday that seems to
America.
Yeah, seriously, right? No, but it seriously kind of seems to jump ahead of culture in some ways. But what's kind of interesting about it is it doesn't leave behind all of your culture. Like, and depending on your family and your background and this, that, and the other, it really feels like people kind of have these like traditions. They have little things that they bring to the table. And sometimes they kind of mix and match and all this. And it's kind of fun to, it's going to be fun to unpack that. So Thanksgiving is, for me at least, and I definitely want to hear from you guys' perspective. For me, it is my favorite holiday because the first thing, after we talked about giving away bread, the first thing and foremost is that there's no gifts, which I absolutely love because a holiday without gifts that encourages you to stay in your PJs for most of the morning and napping is somehow okay on any other holiday. Probably isn't. It's a pretty gosh darn kick butt holiday that I love. And it's something to me that I have always dreamed of the day of hosting permanently. I know that we're going to talk about who hosts and all this other stuff as we get through this episode. But we go to my wife's aunt and uncle's house. We're getting to that a little bit. But we travel and that's okay. But it's a nice family holiday to be together and to eat, enjoy the sides and catch up with people.
Yeah, like I have to agree with you. I think I mentioned this before. One of my favorite holidays, or the favorite holiday for me, is Thanksgiving. And just like you mentioned before, it's not about giving gifts or anything. It's about everybody coming to a table and having a seat at that table, and then sharing meals and sharing the stories, whether the stories are good, stories are bad, or you're eating something that you don't like, but you're just eating it for the sake of eating it and making that person feel good. It is everything I think family represents. One time a year and just kind of catching up and having a good time.
I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that Thanksgiving is probably definitely our favorite holiday that we host. I think it's just a time for all of us to get together. We have fun. Sometimes someone's crying, someone's laughing.
Sometimes.
There's a whole bunch of emotions going on. And honestly, like the kids really look forward to it. The whole family looks forward to it. It's like the holiday that everyone just gets together. I just love it. I love Thanksgiving.
It's funny because as a kid too, like when you're there's not like a lot of days you have off too much. Like there's a holiday here and there in September and whatever else. But when you finally get to Thanksgiving, for whatever reason, it's just It could be a day, it could be 2 days. Some schools are just like one day. But for whatever reason, it feels like a big monumental break for some reason. Like there's something about like the night before and you get all excited and then all of a sudden you know you're gonna wake up. You know it's gonna be awesome. So you kind of like you just like getting ready. You know, you get like, what pajamas will I wear? Where's my blanket? What are we gonna have? Will there be snacks? Of course there'll be snacks. Please come on. So it's kind of an exciting thing. But something about it, and I think we'll just kind of like take a moment to appreciate this, is what I always think about this when you look down at the plate, like you know when you're with your family and you look at that plate, you finally put all your stuff on it. You get very strategic when you get older. You get the stretching pants a lot. But when you look at that plate, I think it's so cool because when you have a lot of people over, and then even like, you know, Mike, we talked about this, you know, a few episodes ago about like passing recipes down and like family and a pinch of this, twist of that, little, you know, whatever. I feel like the plate represents so much more than just food, you know. And although there's something really beautiful about cooking for 3 days and people eating it up in 40 minutes and walking away from the table, but the idea is that at that moment, before people walk away, there is a plate that really has a nice representation of like your family and stuff. It's just very cool.
Yeah, I think one of the past Thanksgivings I hosted, we kind of did something where everybody brings a dish in addition to whatever I'm making at the house.
Mike's like, I gave it a name. I called it a potluck. I'm going to coin it.
Yeah. But I wanted everybody to bring like a dish that represented their family. So like you have like everybody's family dish and then it comes together at the big family dish, you know?
Oh, I love it.
Big family table. So, you know, I think my older brother bought like deviled eggs and stuffed mushrooms because they were really good at bringing those. Yeah. And my mom brought something and my mother-in-law brought something and everybody just brought something and we all came together to represent, you know, our family. So it was really, you know, it's really cool. It's like what you said, Mike. It tells a story.
You just got, I think Sara and I, our eyes both immediately, you said the magic word, like Pee Wee Herman back in the day, you say the magic word, it's like, ah. You said deviled eggs and both of us were like, really? Yeah. So really why don't we jump back? Why don't we get involved here? Why don't we talk a little bit about our past? Why don't we talk about like what it was like growing up, and then you know, we'll tell a story. So you know, touch base, figure out all out, laugh at each other, and then we will get into the present with our own kids and figure out where did it all go wrong. All right. So anyway, so back when, so check this out, and I don't know, maybe this will speak to you guys, but well, I'm getting cozy. Got my legs crossed. This is nice. So back when my sister and I were really young, we were just talking about this. I you'll probably notice that right before an episode, I get very nervous and I call my family and start to get like, what happened then? What do you remember? Like, it's like a whole interview. I don't know. I'm crazy.
I love it.
Maybe I'll just say that every episode that I'm crazy. We'll assume that. So anyways, talking to my sister and back when I want to say we had to be old enough where like it was a relatively good idea to take us to the city. So I'm guessing maybe, I don't know, I was probably like maybe 7 years old, 6 years old. My sister was probably like 10, something like that. So we would go to the city, and I think part of the reason is probably because we fought constantly. So my mom was probably just like, get out of the house. Get out of the house so I can cook dinner in peace. Someday I'll figure what that's like. But anyway, so they get out of the house. So my dad would take my sister and I into the city for the parade. And he worked in the city. So, you know, he worked in the government building, did the city thing. So we would stop. We would drive in, and then we would stop at his office, go to the bathroom. Because if you're not a person who's done the parade in New York, there's no bathrooms. Unless you have like a very high-end seat that actually has a bathroom near Macy's. But that's just for people on TV. So, yes, go to the bathroom, get some, you know, nothing was open. Because it's not like it is now. Like, nothing was open. Maybe there was like a dude with a cart selling like bad pretzels. But yeah, nothing was open. And then I think we had some like watered down, terrible hot chocolate. And then you get there early. And the reason why you got there early is because if you didn't, you couldn't get a good spot because, you know, you're short, you're little, you're a kid, you can't see. So you got to be like in the first or second row. So you'd sit down on the cold sidewalk, and the police would have it all barricaded off. Everyone would get all like anxious, like, where am I going to go? On the right side of the street, do I want to be here? So we would be near Central Park West, and I think, and then we would be like on the street. And then my dad would be like, don't move, you know, I'm not sure why he sounds like, you know, Genghis Khan, but he was like, don't move. These are your spots. Sit down, stand up, do whatever. Don't let anybody go in front of you. It was like very stressful. So, yeah, we would do that. And it's so funny because like, I remember like seeing some people, but like not knowing who the heck a lot of them were. We saw like my sister helped, you know, remind me of all this. She's older than I am. Patrick Swayze on a horse riding on his own Arabian stallion named Shocker. There's a lot to unpack there. Rags to Riches. So I thought that we saw the Facts of Life cast. It wasn't that. It was Rags to Riches. Don't remember this show. Apparently did. We thought we saw Blair and Tootie from Facts of Life. It wasn't that. It was somebody else. Then we also saw LL Cool J, which is really cool. My sister was pissed though because she thought that he waved at she was waving at him and he didn't wave back, so she was a little upset about that. But I remember my big score was seeing the Saved by the Bell cast and Punky Brewster. That was pretty amazing.
Ooh, Saved by the Bell.
But the thing that's so funny about the parade that I remember was, one, how ridiculously cold and unhappy I was. But two, also was the mishmash. What am I saying? How like you would get like a famous person who might be like singing like a love song or something very serious, and then all of a sudden they were surrounded by like the Snorks or like some cartoon characters. It didn't work. Like somebody never like figured out like, all right, if you're going to be singing like a serious like rock song, maybe we don't put you with the Bubble Guppies or whatever else. But it's very funny to do that. Did you guys ever go to the did you do the parade thing? Did you guys ever go when you were younger?
I never did. I always wanted to go. It's my dream to get there one of these days, but to also do it in the high class fashion, maybe. I'm not meant for the streets.
You know what? Listen, I got to be honest with you. It really comes down to one thing. It's the bathroom. That's what it comes down to because like access to a bathroom or not, that's like, man, that's I hate to say it, folks, but as you get older, and I'm not saying like 80, I'm just saying like straight up, like you don't have the patience to be like, I'll hold it for 6 hours. It's just not a thing anymore.
No.
I think it's all part of, one thing I like to say during the holidays, during parenting, during anything that you encounter where it's just life is crazy or things are crazy or you don't understand it. I just say it's all part of the experience, and
that's a nice package.
I say that
that's
because, what?
That's a nice bow you just put on that. I like that.
Yeah, right. Because, like going to the Thanksgiving parade, I've never been as well, Sarah. And again, it's one of those things that I would definitely love to do, but I don't know when I'll get there or if I'll get there. And again, I'm like you, Sarah, I don't know if I'm meant for the streets either, but if I did go and I did have to go and be in the street, do whatever I can to see anybody coming down that parade, and I couldn't see them or my kids couldn't see them, and we're all just looking at each other, I could totally see myself saying, don't worry guys, it's all part of the experience.
It's all part of the package, baby. It's the Michael Levine package.
Actually, I'm not fully like lying, but it's not. I didn't see the parade, but I actually did the night before when you see the
oh, no
get
way.
blown up.
Seriously?
Yes,
I hear that's actually like one of the coolest things you can do. We haven't done that yet.
That was pretty fun, I have to say. We kind of walked around, we looked at that, and we're like, ooh, balloons. And then,
it's like nighttime, right? Like, and you.
Yeah, that was fun.
So did you get to go into like the is it enclosed? Is it like inside of like a building or is it just outside?
No, it's outside. It's outside. They're all like blown up, getting blown up.
That is really cool.
They're just chilling, yeah. So, but you can't touch them, and it's kind of dark, so it's like cool, but like I think I would want to see the parade though.
Okay, so after like the fourth float, you're like, well, maybe this is a little chilly.
I'm like, cool, it's a big balloon, awesome.
Let's be honest for a second. All right, guys, listen, nobody has to know in our families. Maybe they don't. Not everything is really all 100% amazing. It's okay. You can just enjoy an aspect of it. You don't get this may come as a surprise. You don't actually get a trophy for staying for the entire thing. So I remember like for us, like the end of the parade is basically what happens is Santa Claus comes out and then he's like, hello. Why am I doing that? I don't know if he sounds like that. Whatever.
Well, no, he does. He goes, ho, 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 ho. Yes.
And he's like, yo. What? Now he's saying yo. I don't know. He's like, hey,
he
everybody.
Says yo now. He's like,
he might as well sound like Christopher Walken at this point. So he comes out and he's he basically, the point of Santa is he usually comes out right after Kermit the Frog. Nope. Yes. Kermit the Frog and then Santa. Because I love me some Kermit, right? All right, whatever. I'm crazy. So anyway, because he's like, Santa Claus is coming. So anyway, Santa Claus comes out, and then that was pretty good. It's better than a Santa. So then Santa Claus comes out, and then the point of Santa is that it's a whole thing with the Thanksgiving Day Parade. Was that the point of it was to get people to spend money and to go into Macy's and try to improve the economy. Wow, there's a history lesson. So when Santa Claus comes out, Macy's is open, but then when Macy's is open, now everybody's trying to get home to the trains and getting back to their family. So we always tried to leave before the encore, and then we got out of Dodge and got back in the car and tried to get home. But honestly,
that's cool, man. That's a great memory.
You know, it's fun, and I'm glad because my sister and I like fought like cats and dogs then, but we're super close now. You know, I call her once a week, and every Monday we catch up and we tell stories and laugh about our families and laugh some more.
That's so sweet.
You know. But
that's what it's all about when you have siblings.
Totally.
You just kind of like make fun of your family.
What? No. What? No.
And
What
the
binds you
craziness
together.
that you guys do. Yeah.
Mike Levine, listen to me. It's part of the package.
Yes. Hey, it's part of the experience.
Do you guys have any tradition? Like, do you remember waking up and watching the parade on TV? Do you do that stuff too, or no?
My dad was like super into the Thanksgiving parade.
So you'd like have it on. You guys would like.
He would get like super pop. Like he was probably the biggest kid ever.
Aww.
So he'd be like, "Oh my God, Sarah, Anthony, come watch!" And he'd be like singing and like explaining who everyone
Love the
is.
stories of your
or
dad.
Whatever. I know, I love my dad. And then, but Santa Claus, that was his favorite because like after a while, you know, you get bored, you kind of wander off, play with some toys, clean something your mom's telling you to clean. And
yeah, it really is true.
Then he's like, "Oh, guys, Santa Claus is coming. The season can start." I'm like, "Yay!" We'll be so excited to see Santa. Yeah,
you know what I love about that is like it's not. I don't know how to describe it. Like it's not that. I mean, maybe it's kind of an excuse. Like there's something about like you know how like the parade's on is live. Like that's it. I mean, you can record it. No one's going back. But the thing is, like when the parade is on. Like your parents could be like, oh, you know, you got to do this. They'd be like, oh no, the parade's on. The Rockettes haven't gone yet. You know, like whatever. You may not necessarily be interested in that part. That is my wife's favorite. But the thing is, it's like it is like it's almost like a built-in excuse. That's what I love about Thanksgiving. It's like, yes, maybe there's something to be clean. Maybe you got to do some stuff. But like some of the stuff you just let go because you're hanging out, you're doing stuff. Love it.
Yeah, for us too. Like when I was younger. Sorry, excuse me.
You're getting verklempt. I love that. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, we kind of just watched the parade too, and it was always on in the background. It was one of those things that was always on in the background. But what I looked forward to when I was younger was the March of the Wooden Soldiers that was on after the parade.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Yes,
that was on after the parade?
Yes.
It was right. It comes on right after the parade. I think every year. You know,
wait, isn't the Westminster Dog Show after the parade?
No. Well, I mean, maybe on another channel.
Yeah.
Maybe on another channel, yeah.
As if I have so much in the game for this.
And for the dog show, you're like, oh, I must watch this.
No, because when that thing came on, it was like, oh, gotta do it yours now. So wait, the March of the Wooden Soldier was on?
Yes.
Yeah. So March of the Wooden Soldiers was always cool to me. I would always wait for that to watch. And I always wanted to be like one of those cool soldiers marching and fight. I guess they fight like these bat type creatures at the end. I don't know. It's very weird. They're kind of very creepy.
I vaguely remember. Yeah.
Does anyone play like Master of Puppets and fight demon bats? Because I'm getting some Stranger Things feels right now, baby.
Exactly. But I mean, that's what was really cool. When I was younger, I always remember watching that and kind of that was the movie that I knew Thanksgiving was here. The holiday season was here, and we were ready to celebrate and eat till our bellies were super full.
You know, I love that because like the thing is there's definitely a big difference between some years, and I don't know if you guys were maybe, you know, in this situation as well, but some years you would have it like at your house, right? And then sometimes you would go like to other families, or like if your family was pretty far away, you would have to wake up and go. Like in some cases, like we go out east right now. I mean, we're not to talk about now, but if we had to go upstate New York to see my aunt and uncle, and that was like we get it going pretty early, so it wasn't like we had time to dilly dally. But did you guys do like any traveling when it was time for Thanksgiving back in the past for you guys?
Yeah, it was either hosted at our house or we traveled to friends' houses, and we did like some Friendsgivings with families. I think they call it Friendsgiving, right?
My wife does that. It's the Thanksgiving you for being a friend.
Yeah,
which actually comes from the Golden Girls. And my wife does that with her friends. They did it before Thanksgiving, and they would all cook stuff. And the men were not, or the husbands were not invited. And you know what? Listen, I think that's awesome. I get that. It's a great time to be with your friends. But, however, as a lingering husband with a child at the time, it was like, what do I do? Do I leave the house or go to the basement? Do I hide? What do I do?
Yeah.
But no, it was so cute. Cute? What? It was nice that they did that. That's not nice to say it's cute. It's
It was cute.
I just wanted to wrap it up in
cute.
a nice experience package. But yeah, no, it was nice. They would cook all these recipes from, what was it? Was it one of the magazines had like all of the they would do like a Thanksgiving like thing where they would show like all these recipes for the season, and then they would
Home.
I think so, and they would cook all of the recipes for that, and then like when they were all said and done, like they might be like a little sausage stuffing left over, turkey that people didn't want to eat, and then all that good stuff. So that's like a nice little thing to do with your friends. But so you did like a Friendsgiving thing when you were younger?
Yeah, well, it was a lot of close family friends, so we considered them family. So we'd either go to their houses or we do it at our house. But for me, what I remember when I was younger is my mother or even a friend's house, they would always do a speech. There would always be some speech before we had Thanksgiving dinner or Thanksgiving anything. Right before
did they pardon a turkey? Were you at the White House?
Yeah. I don't know what it is. And you know what it is? It was like there's always tears and crying, and I remember when I was younger, I'd be like, "Oh my God, here comes Mom's speech."
You're probably like reaching for the cornbread, and then you're like, "Nope, back the hand away, not yet."
Yeah, like, all right, here we go, and it was funny because I always made fun of it then, but it's like now I do speeches now when I'm a little older, and I'm like, the tears.
I know they do. You are.
I'm like, damn it, mother, damn it.
I won't ever call you out on it, but listen, man, I know you're emotional. I love it.
I know.
It's nice that you care, and it shows.
You're in touch with your
but it was good. It was good.
good.
We did both. We did both. We went to either friends' houses or our house, but I just remember those speeches, man. That was like the staple of our Thanksgiving.
Aw. So like I had like my family had like what's it called, snowbirds? Like the when family like lives in Florida or whatever for part of the year, and then they come back. So my grandparents, so my mom's parents, they moved to Florida like when I was really young. I must have been like 5, I think, or so. And when they moved to Florida, it was so bizarre. It was so funny. In my brain, I was so convinced that their old house was down the block. And they were in Queens, but somehow I thought they were like down the block. We could walk them. I had vivid memories of sitting on their stoop, which apparently was not down the block. So anyway, so they would come back to visit in New York, and they would come back for Thanksgiving. It was awesome. And there's so many videos, because we were talking about this like in our first episode about like taking lots of videos and memories and stuff. And we would laugh. My sister and I watched these videos because like someone had a camera. I had my dad holding like the big like John Cusack boombox size camera. And you would like for 3 or 4 minutes, you would just watch people walking in circles around the table. Like my family apparently did not believe in like name cards or whatever, because like it was like, where should we sit? Where would you like to sit? Do I sit here? I don't know. There's lots of choices, people.
Yeah.
Just grab a seat. But it's actually very funny to watch the lay of the land and where people are sitting. Like now as parents, you're just like, oh man, gotta sit near my kid to help them not destroy everything. But yeah, no, we had those
that was
moments,
big.
right?
That was big when I was younger, is like seating arrangements. That was number one, because my mom always wanted everybody at the table, and I think that's kind of passed down to me. Like I always have to have one table. I don't know if you guys do a kiddie table and an adult table, but we definitely do the one table thing, and then we figure out the seating arrangements, just so that to avoid the walking around and then again, if like a kid sits next to somebody that could like my daughter Hayden could toss stuffing somewhere, so we don't want it hitting anybody. You know what I mean?
Or sometimes Mike strategically puts somebody across from Hayden,
so
that they're a target.
Yeah, exactly.
Sarah, what about you? Do you have like a table situation when you're younger? Do you remember?
So when we were younger, so we would go either to my Aunt Nancy and Josie's house, or we just stayed in my house. And it was kind of like, I think because a lot of like my cousins have to be at least a good 20, almost 30 years older than me. We were
no kidding.
the babies. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So when like a lot of them were getting married and having kids, so they're like, I think Thanksgiving in the family was kind of like that holiday everyone split up. So there were some earlier memories of us being together, but then later on it was like just like me, my dad, my brother, and it was like really nice. Cause I liked it because it was just like our time to like just be us, and like it was my mom would get dressed up, we would all get dressed up and be fancy, and we had a good time. So it was just like just us. And then now what I do is that we have a splanch. So like we've tried different like seating arrangements, but we always have one table with all the food. We kind of like we say our prayers, blessed, talk about all the good things we're grateful for. And then I've done like seating like upstairs or downstairs, like a kid's table with a coloring tablecloth, and like we have a good time.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, no,
Very
it's
nice.
good.
And like as the kids have kind of gotten older and stuff, is like, do they still kind of like, even though they're a bit maybe a little old for the kids table, they still kind of embrace it?
Oh yeah, they do, because like then we have so many little cousins and stuff, and they're so good. Like you wouldn't think like sometimes as they're like, oh my god, I'm just so old and cool. Like they love like their little cousins to hang out with them and help them, and they have a good time. They're like, and then they have like to hop over to like, because there's no like grown up table or kids table. I just make a little area though for the kids,
Yeah.
And to color, to do something fun, and but like then now like Sophia like butt into the grown up conversations and stuff like that. So
it's like, oh, I have an opinion now.
Yes,
as
and
a
we're like,
kid,
oh
though-
my gosh, I'm like,
Oh,
oh
man.
God.
As a kid,
So-
though, I don't know if this is, it's funny because, like, you're thinking about this now, but, like, as a kid, one of my favorite things, and this probably relates to Thanksgiving or other stuff, too, but I would remember, like, my parents would go out to dinner, they come back, from eating out, they have dessert at the house, or like, even Thanksgiving. And, like, there was that moment where, like, as a kid, you were like, I don't know, there was something, like, little like, little swagger in your step when you got to sit with the grown-ups, and then, like, they would have dessert, and they would tell stories, and I had this crazy uncle that would like try to teach me like tongue twisters. Now I realize that's probably just for the kids because grown-ups don't usually say like, hey, the black bug bled black blood. That's why don't I remember that? That's insane. So it was, I remember that. I remember like just like hanging out dessert time, like because the seating arrangements would change a little bit. You could kind of sit with people. So like I used to love just like popping a squat and like hearing all the stories because like that's what would happen, right? Like people would sit down and then typically they would tell like the same big stories, and it was usually like somebody in your family who was like really good at telling stories.
Yes.
And like I would love that. It was like story time. You get to hear like the stories of your parents when they're younger, like all the other silly stuff, and that to me that's the best part.
Because as a kid, we wonder, or at least I did. Like, what was my parents like when they were kids? What happened to them when they were younger? I know all the times we're sitting down, whether it's at dinner or family events or whatever, and I can tell my son will be like, oh, he'll go off, Dad, can I go play? And he'll go and he'll play, and then all of a sudden he'll come back, and I see him sitting there in the corner listening to everything that we're saying.
Yep.
Because he's just truly invested in learning about his father, his mother, and how they were as children. And it's funny because then he'll start pitching in. He'll be like, oh, Grandma, can you tell me about when Daddy got in trouble?
Yeah, because he's like, I want to have a Rolodex to keep track of you, buddy.
Or the best you guys will experience when they get old enough to butt into the conversations and they add a layer, and they're like, I was there, and actually what happened was, and you're like, what? You're like, oh my God, the story now has changed.
How the roles.
There's a different perspective.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it is fun. I love hearing stories. I love hearing about like my husband who was younger, or like when my mom would talk about me and my brother when we were younger. I love hearing all those stories, like back in the day, and like when I was younger, hearing how Aunt Nancy, who was like 5,000 years old, how she was like cutting it up like in the 1950s clubs, and things like that. Like I'm like, oh, okay, Nancy, all right. So
see, and that's what's great about Thanksgiving, because like the other holidays, they're great. There's family coming together, there's sharing of presents and stories and things like that. But with Thanksgiving, it's sharing a meal and stories. Like you're there for family to eat, to drink, to have a good time, and to tell all those weird stories, awkward stories, funny stories, great stories, and kind of just a great family time,
I think I heard food in there. So when you were younger, my question is, like, was there one I look at myself in the camera holding a straw, like I feel like I'm Harry Potter. So if you, if was there one dish or one thing that you like most look forward to? Like for me, it's so funny now thinking back on it. Like my aunt, who when we go to my aunt and uncle's or like when she would come down, she would always make sweet potato pie. And what I loved about it, it was, I mean, it was just really sweet and awesome. But she would do that thing where she would put marshmallows on top.
Oh yeah,
and then throw in the oven and like. So the graham cracker crust, baby, that is like quintessential. Like that is like, I think I probably could saw through probably a good quarter to half that pie when I was younger, and it was just so good.
I think a sweet potato pie with marshmallows is it's like the best cuisine, dessert. It's so good.
Oh,
Doesn't it fit that like one moment in time? What am I saying? It feels like it fits. It doesn't it? I know, seriously. But does it, like, to me, like if you were going to wrap your head around like the meal part, which is funny because like I think of pumpkin pie as a dessert, the sweet potato pie and marshmallows is like, no, that's not a dessert. That's almost like when you go to Costco and you get a muffin, it's like got chocolate chips in it, but there's no frosting, so like it's a muffin. But like I feel like it somehow like straddles the border of like of dessert and the main meal at the same time. But it's so
it sure
good.
does. And it's like slightly toasted on top.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we're talking. Now we're talking. We're talking.
You know what's so funny is like because you know how
favorite.
like I tend to overcomplicate things. When I made it myself, and it just goes to show you just stick to the recipe and don't overcomplicate things. What a concept! I busted out my my torch that I would use for creme brulee. Mike, you've used it, and I would try to toast the marshmallows. Honestly, they get like a little brown on top, but it's not as good as putting in the oven and getting like the oomph of the broiler.
Inside. Yeah, and then they get like,
you don't need to science it up there, Height. You could just go with what works, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, when I was younger, one of the things that I looked forward to was always that Thanksgiving sandwich with the leftovers. You know, whether it's at like 10 o'clock at night or the next day. And I don't know if you guys ever watched Friends when you were younger, but there was this one episode that they called the Moist Maker sandwich.
Oh my god!
Oh my.
I'm having like Food and Fury memories right now. Do tell.
Oh man, it's this turkey amazing sandwich with all the leftovers from Thanksgiving. But what really made it was the piece of bread that was soaked in gravy that sits in the middle of the sandwich. Yeah,
Wait, so it was like a French dip of Thanksgiving sandwiches?
Oh yeah, and it just when you bite into it, it's just all the goodness that you could experience in one meal in one bite.
That is amazing because when I was younger, I didn't do that leftover thing, but now that I'm older, like I did. But one time, and I don't know if you guys ever do this too, but what I did was I took the I didn't have a soggy bread in the middle, but what I did was I took 2 slices of bread, right? Like, no, that's really exciting. But what I did was instead of treating it like just a regular sandwich, I kind of like grilled cheesed it. So like I took everything put inside, and then I put the whole thing, because that's a good idea, into a pan, and I kind of put butter in there, and it kind of like you get the outside all crisp and nice, and then the inside's
kind of like a panini.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now we're talking. That sounds good.
Did you guys real fast before we ditch the old stuff and move on to current? Did you guys have anything that was like obscure for like the Thanksgiving menu on your table? Like, I'm not Italian, but many of the stories I tell seem to like revolve around Italian food for some reason. My mom would make like a lasagna or like stuffed shells or an eggplant parmesan, which is hysterical because like one half the table is just like, you know, turkey and gravy and all the other stuff. Or like maybe for my heritage, like, you know, she would do like noodle pudding, whatever else. But there was like, it was just very funny because it was like, I think I'll have some eggplant parmesan on my plate next to my turkey because that goes really well together. So did you guys have anything like that or any cultural stuff that was like not of your typical like, you know, whatever, like your standard issue?
Well, for me, I had Hispanic rice and beans, and I had a potato salad that my aunt really made, which was awesome. Like, anytime we went to Puerto Rico to celebrate Thanksgiving, she would make this potato salad, which was, I don't even know what she puts in it. Family recipes, but it was awesome. And then, of course, the rice and beans, which is kind of weird with Thanksgiving, but it works. It works.
I feel like I'm starting to.
Yeah, right. We have that at my table now, but we had so my dad was Italian, so We did like a lasagna, which I guess is not so bad. Like, you know, like I guess un-American as it sounds or whatever. And then then like my mom would make flan for dessert, or we had
flan.
like she would make like sometimes like different like stuffings with like different like sausages or like sometimes like organ meat in there. So that was a good time. But it was delicious. Honestly, it was so good. Or there was like one that
I feel like, don't you feel like most places just like do that though? Like you go to the South, you get dirty rice. Like it's normal. It's like almost
like
more abnormal to not do that, you know?
And then she would make sometimes like a green rice, which was so good. So basically, it's cilantro with like raisins in it, and like, but it made it green. The rice, it was so good. Like, and it go with the turkey and everything. It was just a good party. And what else we used to have that was a little off?
I think it's on. Is more like it.
I know. One year, my mom did make like little. She didn't want to make a whole turkey, and so she made little Cornish hens for each of us. And it was so good because we're like, I didn't know what the heck it was. And I was like, what's this little baby turkey like on my plate for? And I was like, this is mine? She's like, yeah. Oh, it was delicious. Like you got the legs, you got the breast, you got the thighs, you got everything all to yourself. It was delicious.
I don't know how I feel about like anything else other than turkey as like the main dish. Like, because I've been talking to some people prior years now, whatever. And everybody, you know, there's this thing where people say, oh, I don't really like turkey. And I get that. Not everybody likes turkey. So they'll create like a chicken for Thanksgiving, or they'll create duck. But I don't know. I just feel like the staple of Thanksgiving is a turkey. Maybe you should have like turkey and then like a chicken on the side, or a turkey and a duck on the side, or something like that.
No, I get it.
A turducken. I know actually one family, Jean used to work with her, was that it was, she would just get turkey legs. Not the whole turkey, just the legs, because everyone liked the legs.
Oh, it was like a Renaissance festival.
And that's what she made, like, was a bunch of turkey legs. But, I mean, like, why not? I mean, I think it's, I kind of agree with you, Mike Levine, where, like, you want to have, like, a nice turkey on the table because it's, like, you know, Thanksgiving. But that little Cornish hen, it didn't do me wrong that day.
That's cool, though.
It didn't do me wrong.
That is cool.
I don't want to speak for everybody. I'll speak for myself, but I feel like for me, I kind of get more excited about the side dishes. But I feel like I like to have, I still like to have a little turkey on the plate. But I'm a dark meat kind of guy. I love dark meat. Sarah, you know that. You and I are like, I'm like, when can we go to Popeyes? When can we get all thighs? And when will people realize that that's a good thing?
That's the best thing.
So why don't we jump over to our present time, all right?
Yes,
enough of, I mean, it's good to like look back and have a nostalgia. Yes. I'm sure you guys that are listening probably have a lot more stories about or thoughts about your childhood and your amazing Thanksgiving growing up, and wondering where did it all go wrong? No, but anyway, so here we are, and something that I would just start us out with is something kind of funny, because my wife and I always talk about this, is when we first were dating seriously, whatever, I don't know. So anyway, when my wife started coming to holidays, I guess we'll say, or we started going to each other's holidays, she came to our house for Thanksgiving, and my wife made a pumpkin pie, and we didn't really have pumpkin pie like growing up. Like maybe my parents would buy like the Entenmann's, whatever else, that tasted like somebody like was like, hey, I'm gonna put an entire nutmeg thing in here, but it's actually making it taste really good. So anyway, so she came over, she brought the pumpkin pie, and she brought Cool Whip, and she put it out, put the Cool Whip down, and my dad says, what is this crap? And
oh my gosh!
I want the good stuff. So it wasn't the pumpkin pie; it was the Cool Whip. But like my wife turned beet red.
No!
But I immediately jumped to her honor, and I was like, "Dad, come on, stop!" But really, wow. When someone says, "Dad, stop," you really jump to someone's honor. I don't know what I said, but anyway, so we laugh because like now every time we eat at dinner as a family or this dessert, inevitably somebody's like, what is this crap, What is this crap? So, I don't know. I guess my dad's like...
That was like some hazing right there.
Hysterical. No, my dad... Because, like, my dad, I guess,
Rachel.
like... Yeah, exactly. But my dad, I guess, must be convinced that, like, Cool Whip is not, like, the whipped cream being shot out with the aerosol can. That apparently there's a difference. Who would have thought? But very funny.
In defense of Cool Whip, though, Cool Whip is pretty darn good. The kids
especially pumpkin pie. It's nice.
Yeah, they do like it. I have to say, like when I make ambrosia or whatever with it, We love Cool Whip here. We don't use it all the time, but when it comes out, the little container.
I love how you sometimes have those like southerny kind of classics. I love that. I love ambrosia.
I know. I feel like that's like from like 1970s cooking book or something like that my mom had.
Oh, like when it was like three shelves of books that all had things to do with Jell-O.
Yes, it was like, hey, you're gonna have
the
nice
modern
luau,
woman
have
only cooks
ambrosia.
with Jell-O. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
like,
you know,
like ooh, throwing a luau, have ambrosia.
Where's your cream of mushroom soup? It's time to cook. Yeah, no,
Yes.
exactly.
But Mike Libby, what were you saying about
I was gonna say with speaking of pies, you know, a weird pie that I had once at a Thanksgiving back in the day was coconut cream pie, and it came from Maria Callender's, Maria Callender's coconut cream pie. But the reason why I bring it up is this now has become a staple in my Thanksgivings.
As it should.
Currently, I look for this pie every year. And every year I wait to the last minute to get this pie.
Whoa.
And I don't know why.
Listeners,
I don't
are you
know
surprised?
why I do it. It drives me crazy. All right. And then, because guess what happens on the last minute? Everybody else wants the darn coconut cream pie.
I would
And
say
I'm like,
everyone wants
who
a coconut.
eats
Everyone wants
cream
pie except for the coconut cream pie. Then all of a sudden they're like, I have options.
So what I'm hearing is that I'm gonna find one, buy one, and then I'm gonna say, Mike Levine, I have one for $50 if you need it.
And the best is it's frozen.
You're gonna hold a Marie Callender pie hostage. Mike, why don't you just buy two and throw in the freezer for the following year?
Like, this is not like a gourmet pie that you get at like the local baker that like can bake really well. This is like a frozen pie, and it's great. I don't know what makes it great, but it's great. And I wait till the last minute like a crazy person that I am, and I should just pick it up.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you. So we have something similar. I used to always make the pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie, like homemade from scratch. I'll do sweet potato homemade. However, a friend of ours brought one time Patti LaBelle pumpkin pies from Walmart. Ooh, Patty knows what she's doing.
Really?
She knows. Patti LaBelle,
Patty.
girl, you know what you're doing because those pies are delicious. Go get them, Walmart.
Man.
They only come out again. The locusts, like the peanut chews that emerge from the ground. Patti LaBelle and her pies, like Mariah Carey and the one All I Want for Christmas. They come out of wherever place they come from, and Patti LaBelle show up at Walmart. Get yourself a pie.
Man.
You won't regret it.
I'm definitely gonna add that. to the
my
desserts
entire outlook on dessert menus is changing dramatically right now.
You might just have to do it. I'm telling you.
Oh man, can we just like for no reason at all just say banana cream pie is delightful?
Oh,
Okay,
banana
we've
cream
done
pie
that
is
now.
delicious.
My
Check.
mom makes a crazy banana cream pie every year. She does. Oh my god.
Oh,
Yeah.
she does.
Sorry, Mom, I didn't mention that. Maybe if you said you like the pasta rather than the bread, I would have thrown that out there for you.
There's no winning for me in this situation. I just want the pie. How do I?
I just want a slice, just a slice.
So
Save us.
anyway, I love this. So let's get to like a little tradition-y kind of stuff. What is that voice? Tradition-y stuff. So anyway, so the something that, and I'm not going to rehash the parade stuff, but I will say something that my wife started doing, which is very funny because it wasn't meant to be a tradition, but it kind of turned into one. So, because the kids wake up super early and then they're sitting there like they don't really want to eat their breakfast or hanging out watching the parade.
Aw.
So what my wife did one year, I think it's because my sister-in-law and her kids were over. I don't remember exactly how it started, but anyway, she got just cinnamon buns, like like the typical Pillsbury, whatever else. And there is something, it was so just cute when she came out and the light, just their faces, just everyone lit up when she just rolls into the back room. Like she just won the day.
Yeah.
She rolled in with like a platter of cinnamon buns. And like, when you get them in the package, like the icing comes separate, you just put it on, like there it is. Dude, you show up with this platter of cinnamon rolls. Why did I say buns? I meant to say cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon rolls. You lay those bad boys down in front of a bunch of kids that are sitting there in PDs watching a parade. It was like, well, we could check this day off. This is perfect now.
Yep.
So I was looking for, there are some really good cinnamon bun recipes or roll recipes that have been floating around. But and I was about to like go bonkers and try one. Duncan Jones mentioned one. He's like the son of David Bowie. For some reason, I follow him and he's awesome. But he had this really cool recipe. But what we ended up doing one year is we got a variety because the Pillsbury ones are pretty good. Let me tell you a little story. I'm not getting paid by this. We have get no percentile. We would like to get paid by this. But Trader Joe's,
So if you're listening,
seriously, if you're listening, so Trader Joe's, their cinnamon buns, oh my God, they are like, we did like a bunch and then we happened to buy those because we thought we might run out. There's a lot of kids. And those, I'm telling you, they were like closer to like the store than like the Pillsbury ones. Pillsbury ones are like, they have like the brand names of like whatever the, big cinnamon roll company or whatever else. But then we did the Trader Joe's ones. Off-name brand, Trader Joe's, bust them out. They were so good.
Does Trader Joe's have like the pop like
Yes,
Pillsbury,
it is. It is like it's it pops open and then you know how like so they're like perforated, so like they're all stacked together, and then like the last like in the tube, so like then the last like maybe like inch of the tube is just where they put the frosting. But then you just pull them apart like they're like almost like a slice of cake. So you pull them apart.
Continue. Yep.
I don't know what is happening inside of the Joe, but it is ridiculously good. And like, I do intermittent fasting and all that nonsense. I will break the fast for this. This is so good.
In the refrigerator section.
Yes.
Okay.
And I would say buy twice whatever you're planning on because they're so good.
I'm late on the Trader Joe's thing. I really am. Like I go there, like I used to go there just for like a few things, but now I'm like getting more into it. So something I've got to explore.
Yeah, they're nice. Do you guys have any like little snacks or treats you give the kids before the party gets really moving?
We do brunch in my house because we have dinner really late at my house.
Nice.
Because of everyone's like work schedules, things like that. We probably don't start dinner. So for some of us, we have to tell that we are going to have dinner at 6, which means they might show up around 7, 7:30.
Yeah, so there's like a little bit of a swing there.
There's like a little time delay. So anyhow, but we have brunch in the like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. We'll have brunch with the kids. So cinnamon rolls do show up there. We have pancakes, the orange juice, the grown-up orange juice, and then we have a good time.
I like it.
Then usually they're sleepy, or like they're watching like the parade or like something random, and then they kind of disappear, and then I start going to like panicky cleaning mode.
Because of course, and then the cinnamon rolls like go straight to your head because then it's like too much sugar, and then you're like must take a nap.
I know. I'm like must take a nap before a party starts.
You know, it's funny because like once you get your kids all like their act together, and like all of a sudden they're all dressed up, you're like, oh my God, they do clean up nice. So then my wife's like, all of a sudden we're like, we have to take a picture because these could in theory be our holiday cards or whatever else.
Yep.
So then that becomes a moment, and then they're all mad because they're like dressed up nicely, and now they like don't want to do that anymore. And before you go inside, stand there and look happy in the cold, take your jacket off, smile.
See,
and then no one looks at the camera at the same time.
But don't drink any juice, don't drink any snacks, don't eat anything sticky. Stay on the couch and look nice for 5 seconds.
We're the opposite.
Please.
We have Thanksgiving dinner early, like super early. Like I've hosted Thanksgiving before and actually many times, and I always put the bird in really early, and then everybody comes over by like maybe 2 o'clock, and we are eating at like 2:30, 3 o'clock. And it is,
and then you send everybody on their merry way by like 6.
Everybody kind of hangs out. Everybody's there for hours upon hours, and we're swapping stories, having a good time, doing our thing. Sometimes we do like PJ Thanksgivings or, dress up Thanksgiving. But the PJ Thanksgivings are just fun because everybody's just chilling. It is a good time.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. I love it.
I think I have to do like a little rapid fire question for you guys here. Ready? You guys ready for this? All right, here we go.
Rapid fire.
Okay. Brining. Brining yes, brining no.
Yes.
Brining yes. Cool. Brining's nice. I learned that recently. Like apparently, like we got like a Home Depot bucket in there, and my dad was like, "Can I use that bucket?" I'm like, "No, it's for brining only." Okay. What about do you guys do stuffing or dressing? Do you put in the bird? Or do you do it on the side?
On the side.
Outside.
Yeah.
On the side. Cornbread or regular?
Cornbread.
No cornbread.
Regular stuffing?
What? No cornbread?
No, regular.
Regular's nice. Even the stuff in the box is pretty nice, to be honest with you.
You want honest? No, I do stovetop because it's me and Jean's cousin.
Yeah.
We're the only ones who eat stuffing. Everyone else is
like salty and good. I like it.
Like,
no, stovetop is great.
They're like, what is that? I'm like, it's stuffing. No? Okay.
Yeah.
Blondies or brownies?
Ooh, both.
That's the right answer, actually. I remember, Sarah, years ago, didn't your daughter like blondies with like ice cream and like like Ruby Tuesdays or something like that, and like or Applebee's.
Yes. That is good.
I was in my Rolodex.
Brownies don't show up on the Thanksgiving table.
Yeah, I don't know why they made me think. My wife makes blondies.
Hot fudge brownies, hot blondies, love them.
Okay, best side dish, go.
Sweet potato.
Sweet potato, corn, cream spinach, and stuffing all together. And
oh my God, those are all good.
I know wherever
all
gravy
on one
hits.
fork. Like that's like on one fork.
You're a genius. That's the right answer.
Yes,
also,
that's how I do it.
dark meat or white meat?
yeah.
I'm a dark meat guy. Dark meat or white meat?
Dark.
God, I love you guys. And lastly, are there any tips to dividing up your plate to save room for the things that count? How do we go about this?
You get another plate.
That's it.
That's true. I love that. You get because like honestly I get like the fancy plates for us, but then I also get like these like
Fancy plates are
shape.
smaller though.
Yes, so I get like I'll do all disposable because I don't have time to clean.
No, I get that.
So or we get like those rectangle plates now that they have.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
Yeah,
because corners hold more.
Yes, so you get yourself a rectangle plate for Thanksgiving, and then use good.
I like that.
I kind of just go with the bucket. You get yourself a bucket.
You know what? You might as well
fill the bucket.
Like,
you might as well tie in a feed bag.
Like the free Slurpee day, something like that. Like where you bring your own
Oh my God! Mike shows up with like a football helmet, starts putting stuff aside. You know, it's funny because I feel like maybe it's I'm like a child because the thing with me is like I first go around the plate filling stuff up, and then I'm like, well, no more room. Might as well go tall, and then I start just stacking up upward. I don't know. I love
that's great.
Gosh, man.
I know, man.
And then sometimes you gotta make mac and cheese, but then you have the problem with the mac and cheese, and then there's mashed potatoes, and then you're like, well, which one takes priority? And then you throw in the sweet potato mash, and it's like so many good things happening.
Oh yeah.
So I think
I make a mean crock pot mac and cheese.
Wow.
And you would think it wouldn't really work.
Yeah, I would think that like almost the noodles would get mushy.
No, you do have to cook the noodles a little bit, but then you throw it all in and you just turn it on, and the crock pot works wonders.
But do you get that little crispiness on top?
Ooh, yeah.
You don't get the crispiness. You don't.
Okay.
You don't. But you get this cheesy, yummy, gooey mac and cheese that just leaves memories.
I was saying, you're saying all the right things right now.
I know, because I'm like I do like the Panera Bread creaminess sometimes, but I also like the panko breadcrumb kind of crunchy one too. So I'm kind of like a little bit more on that realm. You know,
I'm in between. I like them both. I don't discriminate, crunchy or not.
I like that.
I'm there.
So in place of an expert article this week, I thought we'd just talk about little small short things that maybe we don't need the expert this time because Thanksgiving isn't about the experts. It's about the family. So thought we'd talk about a couple ways to share moments with your family about how to show thanks or show appreciation. Something that we do is my wife found this. I think it was like a little crafty thing that we got from like one of those kits that we got years ago. But essentially what it is it's like a little tree type thing, like a little, little whatever. Okay. And then what you do is like, a couple of weeks leading up to Thanksgiving, you would just like write down like one small thing that like about your family or something that someone nice did, and you just write it down, and then you hang it on the little tree. And it was just fun because then after Thanksgiving was over, you would just walk up and you see like the little things and stuff.
That's sweet. I love that.
That is great.
I'm trying to show my kids like it's a little bit more important to be thankful for like some of the small things and not just these big grandiose things because like maybe they'll like each other as siblings a little bit more. Who knows? Yeah. Anything with you guys? You do anything with your family that kind of like try to show them what's important?
I think we have the table usually with all the food there, and we say like a little prayer, like like thank you for everyone who made the food and everything, like remember those who passed. But then what I really do like, and at first like when we first started this tradition, everyone was like a little awkward. They're like, well, what we're gonna say? But now I really look forward to it. Is the like one thing that you're really grateful for. And everyone's like, like, I'm grateful for this promotion I got. I'm grateful for this family. I'm grateful for, whatever it is. And everyone goes around the table, littles to bigs, and we all kind of say it in front of everyone. And it's just kind of nice because sometimes, one, you may not realize that there's something kind of going on with a family member that they're grateful for. Like, I'm grateful I got that
Yeah.
job promotion. And you're like, I didn't even know they were going for a job promotion, you know?
Oh, I like that because
Right.
like you didn't like maybe they don't want to like gloat or like tell people that they just
Yeah.
had something. That's cool.
Exactly. You know, like, and they're just kind of like sharing, like, I'm grateful to be here, you know, like, and it's nice because everyone, I think, takes it pretty seriously. And like, there's never a person who's like, oh, I'm grateful to be here, like, every year, you know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's always, you know, it might switch from person to person who says that, you know, but I think everyone kind of
Yeah.
like, they say what they are grateful for. And I love it because especially the little ones, it makes me laugh, you know, like what they're grateful for.
Oh yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we do the same thing. We after dinner we sit around the table and we're all talking, whether it's at dessert or and there's never really like a set time when it happens. It just unfolds, right? Where we all just kind of start talking about and we go around the table of what we are thankful for. You know, and whether I started or somebody else starts it, it's just whenever the moment feels right. And it's just so nice, like you said, to hear what you're thankful for, you know, from your family. And you don't know what, like, well, most of us kind of know what our family's going through, but, you know, we never really know the whole story. So then to hear, like, the sweet, innocent things that come from the children,
Yeah.
like, oh, I love, you know, Papa and Oma and Grandma and
Aw.
Grandpa being here, you know, when you hear those things, it just, you know, makes everybody feel the good feels, you
That's
know?
cool
Yes.
because like as a parent now, like I think you have a little bit more of an appreciation of like, it sounds so silly, but like you have an appreciation of your parents having hosted for so many years,
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
man, you made it look a lot easier than this, right?
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
you know, yeah, you're right. You have these moments where like, you know, maybe people irritate you a little bit less that day. I don't know.
Right. No, that's true. Honestly, as someone who like you know, we always host the major holidays at my house, and it's just satisfying, particularly on Thanksgiving, to kind of sit back and just see like literally the fruits of your labor. You know, like you put all this
Yeah.
together. It's come together. Everyone's happy. At some point, someone will be unhappy. You know, but that's but it's
Wouldn't
also
be
part
family
of
that.
Right, exactly. That'd be also part of Thanksgiving, and then at the same time, like you also know, like that's just how it is, you know. And
Yeah.
you just got a good family that you can like be healthy and say things, and it may not be good or maybe you know great or whatever. But that's good. I like it.
Yeah, but you all come together for it, and I think that's what's
Exactly.
great. I think that's what's great too about like being a parent around this time and even hosting it. As you're sitting there and you're just watching your own children, you know, experience Thanksgiving the way you do it with your families and them kind of just taking it all in, sitting there joking around with your family. It just gives you a sense of fulfillment, I think, of just the love and the happiness that is being shared. And I think, you know, as far as parents, Thanksgiving is a win for everybody because it just brings family to the heart and center of everything.
And I feel like as somebody who you know, thinking back on it now, there's always that moment where like sometimes like you call like somebody who's out of town and then you pass the phone around. And then it's good. It's a good reminder. Maybe us reminding you, us maybe just saying out loud, I remind myself. It's good to try to reach out to people and try to, maybe they're not the one to pick up the phone. Maybe you have to be the one. But I think there's something nice to be said about, you know, doing that and reaching out to people that matter. But speaking about reaching out and picking up the phone, we'd love to hear from you. So if you have questions or comments for us, a topic, an idea, a parenting story, or a fail that you experienced, especially with burning a turkey, you could contact us. Maybe even tell us about an upcoming birthday for your kiddo, like RJ, who had a birthday on Halloween. Happy birthday, buddy. One, you can leave a message on our Hey Other Parent voicemail line at 559-375-KIDS. That's 559-537-5437. Every time I look at the number, it's like, I don't know what it's saying. 559-LAY-KIDS. If you're feeling fancy in French, you could do that. Two, you could email the show at heyotherparents@gmail.com. Little tip, keep it short, keep it weird, and we will most likely read it on the show. We may not get to everyone right away, but when there's an episode that correlates to an email, we might use it, or we might even be inspired by your email to pick a topic. Three, you could join us on Instagram or Twitter at heyotherparents. We'll try to keep you up to date with show info, polls, and more. If you have questionable parenting moments, please take a picture, and if it's appropriate, we might just have to include it in our feed, like Mike Levine's cookie jar. All right, so we're back for Time to Unplug. Don't forget, you'll be a better we if you take care of me. All right, Sarah, why don't we start with you? What was your parenting unplug for this week?
Okay, so there is a game that G and I just happened to get, and we were playing it one time by ourselves, and then we played it just recently with a game night that we hosted, and it's called the Couples Game, and it is by DSS Games, and I think it's just a really cute game. It's not like one of those like let's dig deep and have a fight at the end of the evening kind of game, because I know for some it's like
especially in the
God.
car.
Yes, it's a good time. But there's questions like who was like the nerdier one of the two, or what was the worst trip we went on, and you have like the little whiteboards. You write your answer, you reveal it to each other, and when it was just Gene and I playing, we just did it one night while we were eating dinner, and it was just me and him. And the kids were upstairs doing God knows what, and and it just like led to like nice conversation. I think we only got through like 4 cards, and we just talked, like like it's just like it made us like reminisce about stuff. It was like, oh really, you think I'm the nerdier one? I think you're nerdy, like so it was just like it's a really nice game. I think it's cute. It's nice to have, like I think we did with a couples night, game night, and I think it led to like nice discussions and like chit-chatting, and especially it was kind of nice like too, like no he's not the nerdier one, you are, like so.
And then you see like the couple like across the table, and one's like rolling their eyes like no that one.
Yes so it made for a good conversation. I think that's a cute game. We got it on Amazon. Hey Amazon, definitely.
We're not desperate. Who's desperate? You're desperate.
So definitely, Amazon it and have a good time with it.
That's great, because that brings me to my Unplugged, because this month is actually my anniversary month, and it's very tough every anniversary because you try to figure out what to do. Like, it's just the 11th anniversary for us, so it's not anything like super big. It's not like the 10th or the 5th or the 20th or the 30th, like those big numbers.
You're going to probably tell your wife to stop listening before this part, right?
You're like, no, biggie.
So my wife and I, we always we try to plan it together. We try to figure something out, and we never really settle on anything. But what we do settle on is kind of spending the night away from our kids, seeing if we could get some our in-laws to or my mother to watch the kids, and then we kind of spend the night at the place where we got married, the hotel.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's pretty cool. But then when we get there, we're like, oh, okay, let's go out to this place or go out to this place. We never know what to do. So I think I'm going to pick up this DSS game that you have, and the couples game, and we'll play it at the hotel. So that's kind of cool.
Good. And then Sarah, I think solemnly swear that like most times people do not fight as a result of this game. So this is good.
Yes, I solemnly swear it's not like dig deep,
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
persecute you kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
What about you,
so
Mike?
my parenting unplugged this week, I'm going to try to get away from video games for a change and TV, is actually a wacky cooking thing. So I, love food. Shocking. And we, a number of years ago, we were watching a lot of Top Chef. And one of the things that came up was this thing called sous vide. It's very fancy for cook food in a bag.
Sous vide.
And so essentially the thing is basically you have this stick that you buy. It's called a sous vide, whatever thing. And then you put you put food that you're cooking in like a Ziploc bag, or you could get one of those fancy food saver things and then like take all the air out of it. You cook it in water, and then this device, this machine, what it does is circulates the water almost like an aquarium kind of thing. And then you set the temperature. You set the temperature for like a certain temperature, and then it cooks at that temperature. So why would you do this, you ask? Because you wanted to have a science experiment in your house. No, but so the reason why you do it is because it cooks food like perfectly. Like you can't overcook it, which is pretty wild. I mean, if you let it cook for like too long, it just turns to mush. But the idea behind it is that, like for instance, if you were cooking a steak, like when you cook a steak, if you like steak medium rare, when you cook a steak medium rare, what happens is you cook it, and then as you cook in the pan, it may be red in the middle, but it then starts to get gray on the outside, right? So like the more, so it's kind of hard to figure out. The thing that's cool about sous vide is whatever temperature you set it for, it cooks at that temperature. So like if you want a medium rare steak, you set it for like 134 degrees, and then what happens is your steak is medium rare. At the end, you just sear it on both sides. So anyway, that's all great and everything. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because food has gotten so ridiculously expensive lately, and I really wanted steak because who doesn't love steak? People that don't eat beef. I get that. So, but for me, every now and then, it's just really good. I just like having steak, like, whatever. So, I go on Reddit a lot because it's a fun place to go. And it turns out that chuck steak, chuck roast, which is basically like the junk part of the steak, right? When you use this sous vide machine, you could cook like a chuck steak or a chuck roast, which is typically like maybe like 2/3 the price of like other steaks or other meats. You could make really luxurious, yummy steak that cost a lot less. That actually almost imitates other steaks. So, my one more thing is chuck roast, chuck steak, cooking with sous vide. It takes a long time. The sous vide, as long as you keep it above 132 degrees, it's safe. It's food safe to eat. So cooking it at like 135, I'll post a recipe or something like that. But using the sous vide stick, if you cook a chuck steak for 36 hours, I know it sounds kind of insane, or a chuck roast for 48 hours, it is very similar to eating prime rib, which costs a ton more. And my wife, who doesn't really eat steak, it would be a really big waste to do like prime rib because she doesn't really, but to buy like a big prime rib is a lot of money. It's also a lot of food, like for the So like a couple of my kids eat it with me, but they like it, and it's honestly like you get like a little like a big pot to cook it in, and then whatever. So anyway, I'll post an article, whatever it is. But I think it's a very cool approach to cooking, and what I like about it is like, when I was first learning how to cook, and even still like this now, sometimes it's hard to like figure timing out when things are going to be like warm or ready, the other side dishes and stuff. With the sous vide thing is like you could set it up, you could kind of like quote unquote set it and forget it, do all the other stuff, and then just finish the food when you're done. So that's kind of cool, kind of random, went on for a while, but I think that's kind of a neat thing for us.
I like it, man.
G and I do love a prime rib.
And he does call me sous vide Mike, so that's good.
Yes, he does. He does call you sous vide Mike. And I do have my sous vide just hanging out in
I know you do. You got to bust that baby out because it's
collecting a little dust in there. I
Me too.
Dust her off real quick.
Guys, let me tell you something. And by the way, shrimp and salmon, like seafood and sous vide, is so good. It's ridiculous.
Really? Okay.
All right.
Sounds
Well,
great, man.
There's underused utensils
guys,
there.
I enjoyed spending pre-Thanksgiving with you.
Aw,
So it's been nice.
Definitely.
I feel so grateful.
I'm grateful too.
And
I'm
so
grateful for
thankful.
you guys. But even more, we're
Gratitude.
grateful for the time because it's getting late. I know you got to get that room to wrap it up there, Mike. So, okay. So if you have time, we'd like to greatly appreciate if you left us a review on Apple Podcast app. You search for the show, you scroll down to find the ratings and review section. And if you find that you click on it, you could leave a number of stars, and you could leave us a little like couple sentences if you feel inspired by Mike's cookie jar, or the sous vide, or the rice and beans. Who knows? But it's going to be something. So we appreciate that. And we'd like to take a little moment to say thank you to the listeners, people who have been telling us randomly they've been listening to the podcast. We really appreciate it. It's awesome. So we appreciate you. We'd like to take a moment to thank our other listeners, Tip Jar supporters, for donating to the show. If you want to help support the show to allow us to keep making episodes just like this, and maybe more chaotic, we have a tip jar set up. You could use a Stripe listed in our show notes. Members get access to a bonus episode starting next month. If you have time, we'd greatly appreciate you leaving us a review like I mentioned. And we can't wait to explore this parenting thing again next week with you on Hey Other Parents, because when we do, it's the three of us and all of you. So don't forget to hug your kids and charge those Chromebooks. That's going to do it for me, for Mike, and for Sarah. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hey Other Parents is produced by Mike Levine, Sara Desvines, and me, Michael Haidt. I edit and mix our show. Our intro voice recording was done by the one and only Coltrane. If you like our show, we hope you'll consider going to our show notes and supporting us through our Stripe tip jar, and consider becoming a member. Doing so supports us and gives you access to an exclusive Hey Other Parents podcast episode each month. Find us online on Twitter and Instagram at Hey Other Parents. Send us an email at heyotherparents@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, that was good. I like that one.
Turkey lurkey.
That was good.
Turkey lurkey.
It's awesome. I am keeping that in the show. Turkey lurkeys, we did it.
Turkey lurkey.